What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Thursday. Glad to have everybody along on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Gonna have a great show talking about the Titans injuries. There's good news, and then there's a bad trend. So we'll talk about that when it comes to a couple guys the Titans might be getting back on Sunday against the Denver Broncos in Nissan Stadium, and then a injury concern of Sam's, and we'll see how it continues to develop over today's practice on Thursday, then Friday into the weekend as the Titans getting set to host the Denver Broncos in a very winnable game for the Titans, I think, regardless of who's starting at quarterback. But Sam Phelan in for Zach Bingham again today. I'm glad to have everybody along, but we'll talk about a potential good thing and also a potential bad thing. And then we'll talk about what's going on with Jeff Saturday and the Indianapolis Colts. If you are buying or selling what Jeff Saturday is putting down there, as he has now officially become the Colts interim head coach. Then it's Thursday, which means the magic bucket. So let's get this thing going, Sam. Welcome in, and let's get everybody up here involved and sharing the show.
Yep. Before we get going, make sure everybody out there is sharing the show for us real quick. Facebook has the share button, so go ahead and hit the share button. Give it out to your friends. You can retweet us at A to Z Sports. Use the YouTube link. Send that out there. Whatever it takes, that's the best way to support the show is by sharing the show, and that's the best way to get more Titans fans involved in our daily conversation. So go ahead, do us a favor, do your friends a favor, share the show, and make sure that you're spreading some love to the A to Z Sports family.
Absolutely. Let's get it going officially on this Thursday. Welcome in A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan in for Zach Bingham today. Make sure you follow us all over social media because we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, and we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Find links to the show on our Twitter timeline at A to Z Sports, also on our Instagram, and check out our TikTok as well. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out you guys like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process by going to see them in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans, better coverage, rates, and service. Learn more about a health plan for you. FBHP.com/ATOZ. And Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Titans. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation, 800-800-4600. So, Sam, you were out at Titans practice yesterday, in the locker room yesterday. The biggest of big news, Treylon Burks was officially designated to return from injury reserve yesterday, which means he was in the locker room. You guys talked to him. And then also he was out in the practice field. So what'd you make of yesterday there with Treylon Burks' update?
Yeah, first of all, kind of surprised that happened. We talked yesterday. I told you I didn't really expect to see Treylon Burks this week. I thought he might need another week, but I'm still not sure if he plays in Denver. I think that's really dependent on how his practice week goes. But the Titans very clearly want to get him out there, want to start seeing what he looks like, start working him back. So, yeah, Treylon Burks was activated. Secondly, man, a sight for sore eyes is Treylon Burks. After what we've been seeing recently out of the Titans wide receiver core, I was impressed with, like, he just had this positive attitude, this positive vibe around him. And I think everybody else had it around him too, knowing the struggles this team has had in the passing game and knowing kind of the disappointment that has been the Titans wide receiver core and how lackluster it has been recently. To have Treylon Burks out there was like, okay, here we go. Finally, there is another guy alongside Robert Woods that we feel strongly about as a weapon. He got work in the individual period. That's really all we're able to see at this point in time. So I'm not sure how involved he was during the full practice period, but it will be a pretty light practice week for the Titans as well, because Kansas City was a long game that took a toll on a lot of Titans bodies. But yeah, just refreshing to see Treylon Burks out there. I'm sure Titans fans are as well. That's just a good feeling right now to know that the rookie is back, that he's looking good, and that the Titans might have a little bit of momentum starting to build on offense.
Yeah, and Ronnie's right. So Treylon Burks, now the Titans just started his 21-day designation window to get back on the active roster. So that day one yesterday as he was back out there. But then you do see this. This is a very busy graphic here, Sam, on Wednesday's injury report. That font is a lot smaller because they had to make it smaller for all those names. Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Amani Hooker, Jeffery Simmons, Tier Tart, and then Josh Thompson, the DB, all did not practice. Limited in practice, Danico Autry, Aaron Brewer, Christian Fulton, Derrick Henry, Dontrell Hilliard, Lonnie Johnson, David Long, Kevin Strong, Ryan Tannehill, and then Torrey Carter was back full participation there after missing the last couple of games. That's a lot of big names. Now, it is worth noting Danico Autry, Derrick Henry are not injury related. So you're guessing there some veterans who take a lot of pounding on their bodies are getting a day off. But Treylon Burks, since he's not on the active roster, is also not on that injury report. So we don't necessarily know full participation or limited participation. But Sam, before we dive deeper into Burks and Tannehill, what was your other takeaways from the injury report? And we'll get to Jeffery Simmons here in a little bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, the injury report, my take from the injury report is what you said. It's deep, right? I mean, that is what 100 defensive snaps against Kansas City will do to a defense, is have like 6 or 7 of your starting defenders out there. I think a lot of it is injury related to a sense, but I think a lot of it is a lot of wear and tear on some of these guys' bodies of just being like, hey, we got to take a nice, easy workload this week. People are still feeling the effects of Sunday night in that Titans locker room, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, that was my takeaway, is just that laundry list of names that are starters on this defense that are out. Some of them may be more injury related than others. But the Titans they've had their injury problems already this year. Now they've played a hard game that has them all banged up. Now they have another game coming up, and it's going to be interesting to see how they manage some of these injuries as terms of who plays, who doesn't play, who needs to be out there, who needs to rest and get healthy. That's a balance that they have on their hands of, like, you know, wanting to have guys back at 100%, wanting to have guys in here for the long term, but also you want to put your best team out there. You don't want to give away winnable games. And as you mentioned, Denver's a winnable game. They're not the worst team that's going to be on the schedule, but there's a lot of talent there. It hasn't really clicked. So for the Titans, they need everybody to go ahead and win this game out there, or at least as many people as possible. But a long, long list. You hope that most of those guys are probably more involved today than they were yesterday, because Thursday is really the day that I feel like is the most indicative of the injury situations. You see guys not practice on Friday for similar reasons all the time. Just they're in turf, whatever it is. Today's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and let's get to the good, because Ryan Tannehill was limited. And we saw Ryan Tannehill jogging through and doing some practice reps there. And so I think that's a massive deal that Ryan Tannehill did more. And Sam, you've been at every practice over the last couple of weeks. So you've seen Ryan Tannehill do more yesterday than you have the previous 2 weeks of practice totally.
No, Ryan Tannehill was limited last week in the sense that he was out there. And like whenever he was throwing, he wasn't really moving when he was throwing. And he was going through walkthroughs and doing basically as basic of movements as were possible for Ryan Tannehill at that point to be limited, to try and get involved. But he knew that it was going to take a lot to get him out there. Yesterday, he was moving around. Like he was going through as the QB1 during reps, back there for the full set of individual drills. Obviously, he's still feeling some pain, but he says he's starting to feel progress, and it's pretty clear watching him. Progress is being made on Ryan Tannehill's ankle. That is a positive sign. It's like he went down, and I think everybody expected him to just bounce back and be back the next week. And 2 weeks have gone by of him not being out there, and you're kind of like, all right, what's going on here? Are we going to get our quarterback back? Well, he's finally making strides in the right direction. It's very clear watching him. It's very clear talking with him. So that is a big positive takeaway, is Ryan Tannehill is on his way back. I do think there's a very good chance he plays on Sunday.
Yeah, now here's a good thing that I honestly have not thought of that much because it's hard to look ahead that far, but Griffin has a really good point. His guess is Tannehill sits on Sunday but plays Thursday night in Green Bay. That's a fantastic point because that's a quick turnaround.
Well, right.
And it's a road game at Green Bay. So could Tannehill's ankle take the 2 games in 5 days?
That's that balance that I was talking about,
Yeah.
right? You just played this tough Kansas City game. You've had these lingering injury histories, and now you have to decide Denver, but then you also have a short week. So it's like, if we play this person versus Denver, is he going to get banged up again and not be able to go Thursday against Green Bay? There's a big balance here of what they do over the next week, really.
Yeah.
They will have 2 games in the next week. So a banged up team is looking at a bunch of snaps here within the next 7 days that they have to decide who's good to go for.
Yeah, but Denver's an AFC game, and AFC games help you in playoff seedings and tie-breaking. And so I think you have to make sure you beat the Broncos so then you can go figure out what you can do against the Packers. 2 winnable games that we thought would be a lot more difficult before the season started. So that's a good thing on Ryan Tannehill. We'll see how that progresses today. But let's go back to Treylon Burks because you were a part of the media that talked to him in the locker room. Here is Treylon Burks yesterday about his return to practice.
Be back in the locker room with my teammates, see the coaches, the staff. It's just a good feeling.
What's the last month, I guess, been like to kind of get to this day?
Hard work, dedication, just put my mind to the ground and just get back and be out here for the team.
How you feel?
I feel great.
You think you got a chance to maybe get back out there and contribute maybe Sunday against the Broncos?
That's the plan. We're just going to see how this week goes and, work hard and, let God take care of the rest.
Coach Vrabel had mentioned conditioning and said you worked hard from that perspective. What are some of the things you did to make sure you stay in shape?
Honestly, just going out and running when I was able to run, making sure that my breathing, everything was up to par, and then just being me.
Do you have any pain? Do you feel like the injury is behind you now? It's just a matter of getting yourself back in football shape?
I would just say see how this week goes and, decide from there.
So there's Treylon Burks there. Pool work, a lot of hydro work, a lot of running there. The 80% of his body weight type running that Vrabel said yesterday as well. And Treylon Burks looked refreshed, right? He looked like he was excited. And Sam, is that kind of what you thought as well?
Absolutely. No, I got great vibes. It was fun being around Treylon Burks yesterday and fun being around his locker because the buzz kind of around the locker room, you've got all the reporters Treylon Burks came out of the shower, hit his locker, and within 2 seconds, I'm in this mob of people trying to get after Treylon Burks here. And you've got Mason Kinsey over in the corner being like, oh, superstar's back. Everybody was loving him up. But there is this buzz and this good energy around Treylon Burks right now of like, man, this guy feels refreshed. He feels ready to go. And hopefully the Titans offense feels and looks the same way as they do around Treylon Burks. He was running some. Yes, Paulie D says running, ? He was running. He was in the pool. He was doing bike work. We talked yesterday about Mike Vrabel's comments about the work Treylon Burks was going to get in and how you stay in shape and how you stay conditioned while down with turf toe, obviously an injury that is difficult to condition with. From, the sound of things, from the look of things, this guy's been putting in the work to be out there. He was looking pretty clean as well.
Yeah, and in practice there, the video you just saw there, I feel like Burks looked fluid. There was no hitch. There was no it looked effortless, which is what you want to see 5 weeks out of that turf toe injury. And Darren says refreshed. He hasn't played much. I thought he looked mentally refreshed, not physically, mentally.
That's what I mean by that.
I don't know if it was the new haircut or what, but he looked mentally refreshed out there. So we got to get to Darren to a comment here. Not Darren. I just read Darren's content, but we got to get to Danny because Danny just gave Sam some lunch money. He says, my takeaway is that Jeff can't go Sunday. Gotta hope Pop-Tart gets over the sickness. Also have a good lunch, Sam, because all the super chats on YouTube go to Sam's lunch money fund. So we're going to get to that here in a second on how Big Jeff's injury is trending over the last couple of weeks and what Sam feels like Big Jeff is going through right now. But first, let me tell all of you guys about one of our great longtime sponsors, Wilson County Hyundai. They can help you get in the right vehicle for you, for your situation. That's whatever you need your car for, or whatever your financial situation is. Wilson County Hyundai can get it done. An easy, quick trip, I-40 East in Lebanon, just outside of Nashville. It's a beautiful drive, especially this time of year when you drive into the sunrise. Zach and I used to drive in that sunrise, going out there for broadcasts all the time. Beautiful trip out there. But Payne Bone, who owns Wilson County Hyundai, family guy. He's a good dude. He's a community guy. He's a Nashville guy. He loves the Titans and loves the Preds and all the sports in the Middle Tennessee area. So make sure you go see Payne and the team that he's put together at Wilson County Hyundai, and they'll do a great job for you in getting in the right car for the right price. And however you need to pay for it, they can help you out. WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Today's show is powered by the king of sports books. I'm talking about BetMGM, because BetMGM right now is offering a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football using the promo code ATOZ Sports in the BetMGM app. If there is a game that you have your eye on for this NFL Sunday, maybe even tonight for Thursday Night Football, whatever you have your eye on, go to the BetMGM app, use that promo code ATOZ Sports, you place your bet, and it's risk-free up to $1,000, whatever that amount is that you place on it. If the bet doesn't hit, you get that money back into the account to try and place again. You get another chance at it. There's really no better way to get involved with sports gambling, with a sports book, than a risk-free opportunity. So that's what BetMGM has today. Risk-free up to $1,000 on pro football. Promo code ATOZ Sports.
All right, Sam. So Jeff Simmons tweaked that ankle October 23rd against the Colts. The Titans have now, I guess, no, that was October 23rd against the Colts. Is that right? Yeah, because he's played in the last two games against the Texans and then against the Chiefs. But how do you think his ankle injury is trending? Because as I showed here on the injury report from yesterday, there's DT Jeffery Simmons' ankle did not practice on Wednesday, right in the middle of that injury report that looks like a CVS receipt. But where do you think the injury is trending for Jeff?
Well, Jeffery Simmons, not really great news in the fact that he was in a walking boot yesterday in the Titans locker room. We were kind of all hoping to speak to him, looking around the locker room, seeing where he was. He wasn't there. And then as we were finishing up talking to Treylon Burks, Jeffery Simmons walked from the entrance of the Titans locker room to the back where the trainer is, and he was in a walking boot. So that kind of turned heads for a minute, and he left the room. So that's really the update we have on him, is walking boot, no practice, and not in the locker room. Typically, that's not a great recipe for a guy that is set to play that next Sunday. I don't think it's really a long-term serious thing at this point. I have no reason to believe that, but it certainly feels like he's a little bit more banged up and more affected by that long game in Kansas City. I mean, he got banged up. He's been fighting through this bum ankle a little bit, trying to play through it. Turns out 80 snaps against the Kansas City Chiefs on a bad ankle isn't really what the doctor ordered for Jeffery Simmons to get back and get to himself. Austin, this is a video from Buck Rising that he took of Jeffery Simmons in Kansas City following the Chiefs game. This is what Jeff said about how he feels.
How are you feeling physically?
Football, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I need to get healthy. They're banged up, but I'll be good.
What were you guys doing up?
I mean, message pretty loud and clear. I need to get healthy. You can tell he's feeling it a little bit. And so that is, I think, loud and clear. Jeffery Simmons needs to get healthy. Now he's in a walking boot. I don't know what Sunday looks like for him. This is a guy who I think is really, really interesting for the exact reason we talked about, where you want him out there. He's a huge, important piece to your team. If you play him Sunday, does that affect his ability to go Thursday? Like, can he go Thursday if he rests Sunday?
I just think Sunday's more important than Thursday. I don't give a damn if it's the Packers who have a better pedigree than the Broncos. Both teams struggle right now, but you have to beat the Denver Broncos to keep pace in the AFC. And so I see Karen says poor guy, and Facebook user who just refuses to have a name on Facebook, which I don't know how that's allowed to happen. But my man's was almost in tears, and Orlando says, "Damn, he about to cry."
Eric says he looks tired, which
yeah.
he says Simmons looks tired. I will say he has every right to be tired. He just played was on the field nonstop against the Kansas City Chiefs and played dang near every snap of the entire game and left it all out there. So he should be tired.
Yeah, let's play it one more time just to get that emotion that Jeffrey was emoting with his eyes there.
How are you feeling physically?
Football, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I need to get healthy. They banged up, but I'll be good.
What were you guys doing up?
He looked like he was going through it. That's a very disappointing situation for Jeffery Simmons, who he and his defense were just absolutely phenomenal in 91 snaps against Patrick Mahomes, only giving up 20 points and the Chiefs needing overtime to do it. I mean, it was just an incredible performance by the defense, and unfortunately, it wasn't in a winning effort by the offense. So that's that situation. So Sam, let's put all of this together. Good trend for Ryan Tannehill, right? That he was out there doing more. Treylon Burks designated to return, but Jeffery Simmons not practicing. So how about this question? Which is more impactful for Sunday against the Broncos? Treylon Burks potentially being back or potentially missing Jeffery Simmons? Which is more impactful for the Broncos game? Potential return of Burks or potentially missing Jeffery Simmons? And speaking of injuries, I know where to go for that. Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, that's where you need to go. Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Northern Alabama. You guys got nobody else that's as good as what the Bone and Joint Institute is putting together right now with sports medicine and orthopedic surgery, orthopedic treatment, and also rehab facility there in Franklin. Also have clinics in Brentwood, Thompson Station, and in Nolensville. So whenever you get hurt in life, you need to check them out at boneandjointtn.org.
Today's show is powered, as always, by the king of sportsbooks. I'm talking BetMGM, and I'm talking that risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000. Use the promo code. It's ATOZ Sports on BetMGM and the BetMGM app. And the king of sportsbooks is giving you a risk-free bet. There's no reason not to get involved when betting can be risk-free. That's up to $1,000 on a pro football bet with that promo code ATOZ Sports.
All right, absolutely. So, Sam, I'm going to send you to the chat. Which is more impactful Sunday versus the Broncos? The potential return of Treylon Burks or potentially missing Jeffery Simmons? And so I'll let you go to the chat and see what people are saying on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Yeah, scrolling up a little bit here. John Foster says Jeff. Stephen King says Big Jeffrey. Christian Fuller says missing Simmons. G-Man says Simmons MIA. Noah says missing Jeff. Brian says missing Simmons. Jason says Burks easy. That's the first Burks that we've seen so far. Dylan is on Jeff. Apollo's on Jeff. Rooney is on missing Jeff. Jay is on Simmons. Brandon says Treylon Burks coming back. Jeff needs rest, man. Tiffany is missing Big Jeff. Nate's burner is Big Jeff is more important. Ken says Simmons is the heart of the defense. Jay says Simmons. Let's see. Do we have anybody else on Burks here? Karen says Burks. Antoine says Burks. Johnny is on Simmons. Kenny says missing Big Jeff. Caleb's on Simmons. An overwhelming support for Jeffery Simmons. Billy is on Burks. There's one there. Let's see. Nick makes a good point here. Simmons, especially if Dupree is out and Burks didn't contribute much when healthy. I disagree with the second part. Yeah. I agree with the first part. Bud Dupree does have an impact. I think Treylon Burks' impact is deeper than catches and receiving yards. It is the threat of Treylon Burks can have an impact on the Titans offense bigger than his stat line. Yeah. Let's see. Orlando just says, don't put the big fella out there. He doesn't want to see Simmons out there, given what he just heard from him. All right, Austin, where are you at with this? Who has a bigger impact on the Titans Sunday? The return of Treylon Burks,
Potentially.
or the potential return of Treylon Burks, or the potential absence of Jeffery Simmons?
I'm going to say the potential return of Treylon Burks is more impactful. The Broncos offense is struggling. Now, that doesn't mean the Titans defense can just take a deep breath and relax and not have the same intensity that they've had. They can't afford to have a bad day because the Titans can still lose. The Broncos can still pull some things out of their ass, and Russell Wilson can still beat you if you don't pay attention. And so missing Jeffery Simmons would be not great for the Titans defense, because I think it all starts with him in the middle of the defense, and we all understand that. But I honestly feel like the Titans offense needs a shot in the arm, and Treylon Burks is the only thing they have that can be described as a shot in the arm when it comes to energy, explosive playmaking ability. And so I have to go with Treylon Burks' return can have a bigger impact, because I think the Titans defense, in giving Big Jeff a potential day off against the Broncos, you can still win that game. The Titans offense has to make plays for its defense. So that's where I go with Burks. I just think the drop-off without Burks is, we know what it looks like. The drop-off without Simmons for this defense is significant. But T.R. Tart's having a great year. He was out yesterday with an illness. You've seen guys like Mario Edwards and DeMarcus Walker make plays throughout this season. So they've been able to do things around Big Jeff. But how much does Big Jeff help the other guys be better, right, too? So, but I think Burks has a bigger impact this week in particular with this matchup against the Broncos.
Totally agree. 100% agree. Jeffery Simmons is a more impactful, better player than Treylon Burks. He means more to the Titans. You could argue Jeffery Simmons is the most impactful and most important player to the Titans, maybe outside of Ryan Tannehill, just because Ryan Tannehill's a quarterback. But for this week, you need Treylon Burks more. And it comes down to what you said. It comes down to what our super chat said earlier. The drop off from Jeffery Simmons to the rest of that front four, those guys can get it done for 1 week without him. We need Treylon Burks in this wide receiver room because we've seen it the last couple weeks and it's been ugly. So you need to get some sort of spark on offense. I think it's notable too that playing Denver, they don't run the football. Like, they can't run the football. They're not good at it. So like, I'm not too like talking about Big Jeff being huge to stopping the run and you know, clogging things up the middle there. It's not really a strength of Denver to go ahead and do that. I think you have enough between T.R. Tart and Mario Edwards and Bud Dupree and Danico Autry and Rashad Weaver and these names that you have on the front, you can get by for one game. Treylon Burks in this offense, if he's out there and if he is healthy, just the separation and the threat of Treylon Burks alone opens things up for this offense that weren't there before. And especially if Ryan Tannehill's at quarterback, a guy who can take advantage of, you know, 1 yard of separation, put a good ball. He's a little bit more of a refined passer than Willis is or has been the last couple weeks. I think the impact of Treylon Burks goes a long, long way to the Titans offense being more balanced, to having Derrick Henry be a little bit more effective, and to finally being able to put games away when you get out to a lead. You have to be able to pass the ball at some point, and you have to have wide receivers that can create separation and make things easier on your quarterback, even if it is Malik Willis out there. Treylon Burks, we saw, it was top 20 in the NFL in separation before he went down with his injury. He was the number one rookie in the entire NFL in separation before he went down. So people were making the comments about, well, maybe he hasn't had the numbers to do it. He can get separation to make life easier, and you might not have 80 passing yards in a game. I also agree with Mr. Clean here. He's catching the deep balls. Treylon Burks is another guy that you at least trust to catch the ones you should make. You have Robert Woods now. Now you have Treylon Burks. Those are two guys that you're like, all right, if you put the ball in a good spot, he should catch it. And that's what you need at this point. As many guys as possible that are just good enough to hang with your run game.
Yeah. We haven't seen Treylon Burks catch a deep ball in a Titans uniform in a game yet, though, right?
I just think it more comes down to the ones that hit you in the hands.
Yeah, right. And he hasn't had that many opportunities because he's only played in 3.5 games. And he's made a couple plays here and there. And you see the explosive ability that he brings that they just don't have. And so, Treylon Burks is so important to this. And I think, too, on the Titans defensive side, is you look at the Broncos, they give up like 3.5 sacks on Russell Wilson a game. It's really crazy. And so the Titans defense can really take advantage of that. And you mentioned the Broncos can't run the football. Melvin Gordon is not the Melvin Gordon of like 2019, 2018. He's averaging 3.5 yards a carry.
Latavius Murray has become their RB1 because Melvin Gordon hasn't gotten the job done, and they're missing Javonte Williams with a torn ACL.
Yeah, and Latavius Murray's got 3.7 yards a carry, so it's not like he's doing much better, and he's 32 years old. So I think the Titans' defense can do a pretty good job on a 32-year-old running back.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what it comes down to for me, too, is like, yes, I think they can. And another thing, too, that I don't think anybody's talking about, the Broncos have a guy named Patrick Surtain that is one of the best defensive backs in all of football. He is unbelievable in man coverage. If you don't have Treylon Burks out there, it is almost a guarantee that he will have a date with Robert Woods and basically eliminate him from the game, as Pat Surtain tends to do to whatever opposing wide receiver he is facing. So your options for pass catchers becomes even more limited when you have to deal with Surtain Island over, or PS2, as I believe the Denver Broncos fans call him, over on the other side. That's just another guy. You put Treylon Burks out there, that's where Patrick Surtain's energy goes. It frees up Robert Woods to do things. These are all things that you have to put into effect, and not to mention, we haven't even brought it up yet in this current debate, but I do think the Big Jeff injury status is worth saying, maybe because he's not even 100%. Like, if he goes out there, he's not 100%. And he's saying to you, I need to get to 100%. So it feels pretty clear. Like, if I could pick one of the two to be out there this week, I'm taking Treylon Burks.
Yeah, who's had 5 weeks of rest and recovery. And Jeff's played 80 snaps 5 days ago. All right, so one thing I did want to mention is because you guys, Titans media mentioned that you guys saw Big Jeff in a walking boot yesterday in the facility on a Wednesday. On Tuesday, Jeffery Simmons did a public speaking appearance for the Titans, and he was not wearing a walking boot. Ryan Tannehill was apparently wearing a walking boot in the facility, but when he walked outside to go talk to the media at a press conference podium twice on a Wednesday, he had no boot on. And so, you can take a boot off and deal with it for a press conference or a speaking engagement to not send up any antennas or red flags and then go put that walking boot on. Or you could just wear a walking boot whenever you know that you need to make sure you recover that. I've had, people wearing walking boots, just for weeks, whenever they can, just because it helps take stress off of whatever that foot or ankle is dealing with.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily indicative of a major injury. Like I said, it could just be trying to ease off the pressure here. But,
maintenance.
Yeah, it is a concern when you see Big Jeff in the walking boot, because it is, you knew he was banged up. You didn't really know how bad it was. I think everybody kind of assumed he would be out there. And then you see him walking around in the boot and you're like, okay, maybe he's really, really starting to feel the effects of that game, of that lingering injury. Yeah, so if you ask me, do whatever it takes, get him back to 100%. Hopefully it is just a maintenance thing for Big Jeff at this point to have the boot on.
Yeah, I did see this comment. Somebody asked a question, what's the status of Kyle Phillips?
Yeah.
John, what's the status of Kyle Phillips? He was the most impactful player besides Henry. Well, for week 1. Here's the status of Kyle Phillips. Engaged.
Yeah. Hey, good for Kyle Phillips. Happy for Kyle Phillips.
Yeah, Kyle Phillips proposed to his girlfriend this past weekend while on injured reserve in the middle of the season. Like, I just thought that was bizarre. I was, going through Instagram and, A to Z follows all the Titans players because you find out news like that. But Kyle Phillips just flew back out to Cali while hanging out on the injured reserve with a couple injuries and decided to pop the question.
Hey, good for Kyle Phillips. Happy for Kyle Phillips.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought that was interesting because somebody asked that. That happened like literally. He posted that last night. I was like, what?
Caleb says, dude went on IR to propose with a just kidding. Yeah. But that is the status of Kyle Phillips. He's still on injured reserve. He's got what, 2 games now that he can't play, I believe.
I believe he has 2 more games.
Right, because he went after what game? The Indy game, I think. I don't remember the exact date. It's either 2 more games or 1 more game that Kyle Phillips is on injured reserve for, but he's not eligible to come back yet because NFL rules, you have to miss at least 4 games when you're on injured reserve. He's missed 2 weeks ago, 2 games. So he has at least 2 more games for Kyle Phillips. So he will be eligible to return after Thursday night in Green Bay. Will be the last game that Kyle Phillips is required to miss. Xavier wants to know, how is that bizarre, Austin? If you want to explain, because this is your stance, not my.
No, yeah, I just thought, like, you're in the middle of a season and he's on injured reserve. I just thought it was interesting. Of just like, hey, just might as well take that opportunity to fly back out and do this proposal.
Why not? Why not?
I guess, yeah. I mean, I just hadn't thought about that. Maybe that's, I don't know. It caught me off guard is all I'm saying, is that I was not expecting a player to do something that like that during the season. You just don't see it that often.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably true. You don't mid-season. Yeah.
I don't think there is not a time that I can think of a player getting engaged in the middle of a season in my 10 years of covering the Tennessee Titans.
I mean, I have far less experience than you, so I defer to you on that.
Yeah, G-Man says, not focused. He's not focused. I'm not saying he's on the IR. He can't do anything. I just thought it was interesting to do that. I guess that's a good surprise for everybody. I guess it happens. I don't know. But.
Yeah, Wilbur also said Molden should play this Sunday. This is it's an interesting one because Elijah Molden told me last week in the locker room, similar to what Treylon Burks said, where he's like, yeah, that's the plan for me to play. Elijah Molden said, like, yeah, like I expect to be out there Sunday. So the assumption was he was going to play last week. Mike Vrabel did say in the press conference something along the lines of Elijah Molden had a bit of a setback when he was on the field doing stuff at game speed. And in order for him to get back on the field for a game, they have to see him on the practice field operating at game speed, doing things he would be asked to do in the game without having any setbacks to his injury. So that is the hope. I think they're taking a similar approach to Treylon Burks. Treylon says, yeah, the plan is for me to be out there. I hope to be out there. But yeah, we have to see. There's a very good chance that once they do full speed practice reps and simulate the game in a lot of ways, that it's clear, all right, he needs another week to get ready. So TBD on both Molden and Burks. They're probably going to be close to questionable towards the end of the week with designations made at a later point in time.
All right, Sam, let's get to our next conversation. Jeff Saturday officially takes over as Colts interim head coach. In his press conference, made some waves with a clip we'll play here in a second. But first, let me tell everybody about Farm Bureau Health Plans. That is where you should turn for your new health coverage, better coverage, rates, and service at fbhp.com/ATOZ. They've been serving Tennesseans for over 75 years, and they can help you be more efficient, save on your health coverage. And Zach Bingham joined Farm Bureau Health Plan family earlier this past year, saved 20% plus on his coverage. He's talked about his contact allowance that he gets. He gets the free teeth cleanings that his previous plan did not cover. So again, he's paying less money for better coverage. That's exactly what you want there. And Farm Bureau Health Plans, they make it so easy on you because they have great customer service as a statewide company there to help you out regardless of where you're at. fbhp.com/ATOZ.
Today's show is powered by BetMGM. BetMGM is the king of sports books because they are offering a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football when you use the promo code ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app. We're about to play this Jeff Saturday clip, and regardless of how you feel, if you love Jeff Saturday for the Colts, if you hate Jeff Saturday for the Colts, you can go and back it up on BetMGM by placing a wager on the Colts this weekend. And if you use that promo code ATOZ Sports, that is a pro football bet, and it's up to $1,000. It is risk-free. So go ahead and do that this weekend. Get involved in the action with the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM.
Yep, visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, can see only new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued with knowledgeable free bets or credit for bet expiring 7 days. For problem game support, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Let's just play this Jeff Saturday clip. We want you guys to answer the question. Are you buying or selling what Jeff Saturday is preaching at the podium?
Here's the deal. Everybody talks about I'm completely comfortable in who I am as a man, bro. I know I can lead men. I know the game of football, and I'm passionate about it. I have no fear about, are you as qualified as somebody else, bro? I spent 14 years in a locker room. I went to the playoffs 12 times. I got 5 dudes in the Hall of Fame that play with it. You don't think I've seen greatness? You don't think I've seen how people prepare, how they coach, how they GM, how they work? I mean, won Super Bowls, been to 2. Like, here's the deal, man. None of us are promised a good job. I may be terrible at this. And after 8 games, I'll say, God bless you. I am no good. I may be really good at it. I got no idea. But I dang sure ain't going to back down. I can tell you that.
Buy or sell? Rooney says he was going to sell it before he even heard it. But buy or sell that from Jeff Saturday? I want to play it one more time so we can get even more comments on here. Buy or sell Jeff Saturday?
Here's the deal. Everybody talks about I'm completely comfortable in who I am as a man, bro. I know I can lead men. I know the game of football, and I'm passionate about it. I have no fear about, are you as qualified as somebody else, bro? I spent 14 years in a locker room. I went to the playoffs 12 times. I got 5 dudes in the Hall of Fame that play with it. You don't think I've seen greatness? You don't think I've seen how people prepare, how they coach, how they GM, how they work? I mean, won Super Bowls, been to 2. Like, here's the deal, man. None of us are promised a good job. I may be terrible at this. And after 8 games, I'll say, God bless you. I am no good. I may be really good at it. I got no idea. But I dang sure ain't going to back down. I can tell you that.
Sam, what's the chat saying? Buy or sell?
Yeah, that speaks for itself. We'll get right into it here. Aaron's buying. Noah's selling. Eric is buying. Let's see. I did find this funny from Bork. I'm a man. I'm 40. Right? He's
Mike Gundy in energy from 15 years ago.
What'd you say?
Mike Gundy in energy from 15 years ago.
Tank is buying. Trevor is buying, but says, yeah, his team is horrible. Let's see. Brent is selling, says he has no NFL or college coaching experience, which is true. Let's see. Paulie making the name game, saying he better be Jeff Sunday, not Jeff Saturday. Pistol says, I'm selling already. Jason is in buy. Alex is in sell. Karen is in sell. Nick is in sell, but I hope he wins a few games just to ruin their draft spot. Mike is in sell. Chad is in sell. G-Man is in sell. David is in sell. A lot of selling going on here. Albert will sell. Jermel will sell. Troy is going to buy. Yeah, we're getting a lot of sell comments right here. Antoine says, I'm buying it. I believe him. I'll go first.
Yeah, I want you to go first.
I buy it. I
knew you'd buy it. I knew you were going to be on that
buy
side.
every word of it. Now, I'm not going to lie. Like, I got me fired up a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this guy going to be a really good coach. I don't know if Jeff Saturday will be a good coach in the NFL or not, but I believe every word that he said. I believe that he believes them. And you know,
he also doesn't know if he's going to be a good head coach either.
Which I think is, fair, right? I don't think anybody knows if he's going to be a good head coach, but I wouldn't say I sold anything that he says. I think he was at maybe a little bit too transparent. Yeah, I don't think witnessing greatness equates to being a great NFL head coach, but I do think that Jeff Saturday has a lot of confidence. I do think that he can lead. I do think that he has those traits of an NFL head coach that could prove him to be successful. I don't know what they're going to do with the play callers, but just those comments alone, I bought it because I think Jeff Saturday has a lot of confidence, and I love this move for the Colts. I do. I think it is the perfect move for the Colts. And here, let me tell you why. Jim Irsay wants one of these types of guys as his head coach. He wants a Colts blue blood. He wants a guy that he has a pre-existing relationship with. That's an ideal head coach for him. Well, he just had one skip to the front of the line, which not great, but he has this guy come in here now, and what they have is a young quarterback in Sam Ehlinger that they're like, well, we need to find out. We need to find out what he is. Now they have a head coach and Jeff Saturday that say, well, we can find out. We can find out what he is. You've got 8 games to do something with it. If it's not working, you're just going to lose games and get a better draft pick. You hire a new head coach in the offseason and you go draft CJ Stroud or Bryce Young and you kind of spark this rebuild in a flash. And if some of these things do start working, then you've just expedited the process of getting your head coach in the building, 8 games earlier, gotten him a little experience, dipped his toes in the water, and gotten him familiar with the locker room. I think it's a good move for the Colts. I think it might tank their season, but I think tanking their season could be the best thing possible for Indianapolis.
Oh, they're punting that on the season. Like that's
but that's good if you're a Colts fan right now. I think is maybe Jeff Saturday is a great head coach. Maybe he's the worst head coach ever. I think either one of those scenarios are good for the Colts. It's a clown show, but it could be a good one.
It'll be entertaining. Titan Fox says, I'm predicting Austin says sell and uses Mike Munchak as the proof. No, Mike Munchak is not the proof, but I am absolutely selling this. This is ridiculous. Like, I don't care. Jeff Saturday sounded like a stereotypical former player who thinks he can do things because he was a former player. And I'm trying to scroll up to find what the perfect comment that somebody said that they're trying to find Mike Vrabel light. But here's the deal. Jeff Saturday is not Mike Vrabel light. Jeff Saturday is Dan Campbell light.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
Dan Campbell, head coach of the Lions. And at least Dan Campbell was an NFL assistant coach for 10 years before the Lions named him a head coach. He was a assistant coach for like 5 seasons before he was the interim Dolphins coach back in the day when they actually beat the Titans when he was the interim head coach in 2015. I was at that game, but in the press box for that. But I am absolutely selling this. And I sold it immediately when I saw it yesterday. I was like, that's a load of crap. And then I heard Ramon Foster this morning on 104.5 The Zone, who played 11 years in the NFL. And he goes, I heard Jeff Saturday talk about 14 years in the NFL, that I've seen greatness and 5 Hall of Famers I've played with and been in 2 Super Bowls and won 1. I know how GMs GM and all that stuff. Ramon says, I was in the NFL for 11 years and I never saw any player or a quarterback be in on GM meetings or be in on head coach logistics meetings. Because you know what the head coach is doing? They're scheduling practice scripts. They're scheduling and helping travel logistics. Like, do you think Jeff Saturday's got that experience because he played 14 years? No. Jeff Saturday, 14 years in the NFL as a Pro Bowl center, was being handed sheets that had everything listed out for him. He wasn't a part of that planning stuff. So, no, Jeff Saturday, he has 0 coaching experience in college or the NFL. It's only going to crash and burn. Like,
well, what
NFL players don't need raw head coaches. Get out of here. Jim Irsay is off his rocker.
No, I agree. I agree with that. Like, I don't think like you need a rah-rah head coach at the NFL level. I think, what do you define as buying it though? Like buying versus selling. Like, I buy it because I don't think he's sitting there lying to the camera. I think that is what Jeff Saturday believes in his heart of hearts, that he is going to, like, maybe not be a success at this, but that he knows how to lead people. I do think he knows how to lead people. Whether that's the number one trait that you want in an NFL head coach, up for debate. Not me personally. Clearly, Jim Irsay values that for whatever reason. but I buy it because I believe Jeff Saturday believes it, and Jeff Saturday buys it.
Look, that's fine. Like, this is not against Jeff Saturday, the human being. I think he's been really good on ESPN, and he was obviously a 12-time Pro Bowl center or whatever he was in the NFL. But I just think I'm selling because of what Jeff Saturday is pitching to himself. Like, I don't think his 14 years in the league without any head coaching or without any coaching experience is going to help him. Like, Mike Vrabel can, yes, draw back on his playing years with relationships with players. But how many times does Mike Vrabel bring up, and we heard Eric Mangini last week talk about Vrabel might as well have been an assistant coach in New England, but Vrabel was under Urban Meyer for a long time in the college game. He was under Bill O'Brien and learned from other quality, long-time experienced head coaches who are running programs. Like, there's a difference in like football stuff and running a program.
I agree. Here's my question for you though. Is like, where's the downside in this for the Colts and for Jim Irsay?
To continue to be to have people just laugh in your face.
I mean, that's fine.
That's the downside. I mean,
everybody
whether you
laughs
care
when
or
you
not,
lose. Everybody laughs when you lose.
Yeah, but Jim Irsay is, I guess it's how it's fallen apart. I guess it's the whole picture, right? It's the fact that every year the Colts have tried to go, Andrew Luck retired. So they pieced it together with Jacoby Brissett. Then it's Philip Rivers. Then it's Carson Wentz. Then it's Matt Ryan. All three sucked. All three failed. Now you fire the head coach. Now you bring in this former player who hasn't coached a lick in the NFL, and it just makes and then every year, Philip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, national media saying, oh, the Colts, Super Bowl contenders. Oh, the Colts are going to win the AFC South and, go to the AFC. Like, all this stuff around Jim Irsay, and it keeps failing.
Yeah, I mean,
Jim Irsay got lucky with the Peyton Manning neck injury and then getting Andrew Luck. And then they ruined that, and he's been failing ever since. And so why is he going to stop failing? Jeff Saturday's hire as interim coach is just the next failure in the last 5 years for Jim Irsay.
But I don't view it as a failure because the optics are bad. But even if the Colts lose every game for the rest of this season, Jeff Saturday just told you, I will tell you, I am no good at this. See you later. Hang it up. Jim Irsay can go and hire whatever new hot top coaching candidate there is. He'll hire Shane Bowen from the Titans to come be his head coach. Whoever it is, he'll go and get the top.
Here's the downside.
But listen, Austin.
Okay.
Because then you're picking top 3 in the draft. Like, the worst case scenario is they go 4-4, and then you're like, do we bring back Saturday or do we? And we're not picking very high in the draft, and then you don't know what to do. But if this is the disaster you think it is, and everybody else thinks it is, that's a positive, because how did the Colts bounce back from losing Peyton Manning, the number 1 overall pick and the top quarterback? And that's what they need again.
But that's a new head coach. It's a different thing, because they had a stable head coach when that happened, and Peyton got hurt. That was an injury that was not a choice. Jim Irsay made choices that have gotten to them in this situation. And how about that? Here's the actual downside that I thought while you're talking, based on what you're saying. The downside is, what hot commodity is going to want to take this job? If Jim Irsay,
any hot commodity, come on.
Look at Jim Irsay. Who wants to be hired by Jim Irsay?
Money talks and jobs talk, and the Indianapolis Colts, love them or hate them.
Not a good job.
I know Titans fans don't like the Indianapolis Colts because of Peyton Manning, because of their recent history. They are one of the I think it is an attractive job compared to some of the other openings. When you look at Carolina, I'm going to Indy over Carolina. I'm going, what are some other head coaching availabilities? Like Arizona, maybe, but you have no money to play with, and your quarterback is already picked for you, and you're locked into a Kyler Murray contract. Indianapolis is the job with the owner that gives you infinite money, the guy that has a rabid fan base, and the fans show up and the fans care, And 2, you can walk in and hand pick your quarterback. You're going to have one of the top picks in the draft to go and get your guy. That's an ideal spot for a head coach to be in.
I think ownership is a big deal in people taking jobs. And I don't think Jim Irsay is a trustworthy owner. I would rather take David Tepper out in Carolina and work for that organization.
Oh, come on. That's
why? What's wrong with that?
Panthers organization is like one of the historical worst ones in the
David
NFL.
David Tepper just bought the team like a few years ago because it was messed up with the previous ownership. And David Tepper is a top 4 richest owner in the NFL.
And what has he done? And what has he done with it?
He's restructuring it.
Chased Cam Newton out of town and gave up his draft capital for Baker Mayfield and paid Robbie Anderson a bunch of money. Carolina has been a bigger dumpster fire than Indianapolis.
Carolina's in the same position as the Colts,
and it's a small market. It's a smaller market.
Yeah, but look at the division. You've got Tom Brady who's on his way out. The Saints can't figure it out, and the Falcons are kind of better. So there's opportunity there and there's opportunity in the AFC South too. I just don't think Jim Irsay seems too much of a loose cannon for me to say, yeah, I want to take this job, because loose cannons make emotional decisions. And I don't want an owner who makes an emotional decision that's got my destiny and my future in their hands.
Look, I think head coaches care about 2 things at the end of the day. Both of them involve money. One is the money that they're getting paid, the contract. And as Jameson pointed out, worst case scenario, you're Matt Rule and you're just getting paid millions of dollars to hang at home or go take a college coaching job. And the number 2 thing they care about is an ownership group that is willing to spend on the team. Jim Irsay is. It's the same deal that everybody talks about with Dallas and Jerry Jones.
So David Tepper is willing. He's willing to spend money on the team because he paid Matt Rule $40 million to go away.
Yeah, there is that, but Carolina has. That's true, but it's a new ownership group that's unestablished, and Jim Irsay is an owner that has proven that he cares about winning. So much so that he makes drastic moves like hiring Jeff Saturday.
Yes,
and things
unstable
that
decisions.
People question all the time.
You're correct. Jim Irsay is established in making bad decisions year after year.
But it's like Jerry Jones. It's like people are like, well, you don't want a meddling owner and a guy like that. At the end of the day, Jerry Jones just wants to win, and he's willing to pay for it. And if you're a head coach and you can go coach the Dallas Cowboys and get paid a lot of money and have your team have all the money in the world, that is attractive. And I think Indianapolis right now, especially given the talent that is there right now, because you can't argue they don't have talent. They are a dumpster fire of a team. They still have Stephon Gilmore and DeForest Buckner and Yannick Ngakoue and Michael Pittman Jr. and all of these weapons. Right, for now. But if you're a head coach, then even if you're moving on from those guys, you're getting draft capital for them. They have the perfect combination of money, of a fan base, of a market, of talent, and potentially, if things really are a dumpster fire with Jeff Saturday, you might have the number 1 overall pick or top 3 pick, and you might have CJ Stroud walking into that building as well.
No. Will Levis, Sam.
Titans fans would be over the moon if Will Levis goes from a Kentucky Wildcat to winding up in Indianapolis.
It'd be so funny. I said this earlier in the week that Jim Irsay deserves Will Levis. I'll add to it. Tennessee Vol fans in East Tennessee who are still Colts fans because of Peyton Manning, those people also deserve Will Levis to be the Colts quarterback. So I think that would be just beautiful irony in theater if that ended up happening. All right, A to Z Sports here live on this Thursday. Sam, let's wrap up this show. You're going to head to the facility later on today for Thursday's practice, and we'll see what that injury report looks like later on. So make sure you are sticking with our social media for all of those updates. But it is time for the Magic Bucket. But first, let me tell everybody about our great friends at Hughes and Coleman. They are the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. And if you've been injured in a car wreck, that is where you need to turn. Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers. They've recovered over $1 billion for their clients across the state of Tennessee and in Kentucky over the last 30 years. And they have the money, the resources, the muscle to go get you what you deserve from the insurance company. So once again, if you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation, 800-800-4600. Principal office, Nashville, Tennessee.
BetMGM is powering today's show, and BetMGM is the king of sports books, and they're the king for a reason, because they offer a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football when you use promo code ATOZ Sports. I can't say enough how good of an offer this is, because so many people look to get involved in the sports gambling space, but they just don't know when the right time to pull the trigger is. Now is the perfect time, because right now it is risk-free with BetMGM. So place a bet on pro football. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports on the BetMGM app, and your pro football bet is risk-free up to $1,000.
Magic Bucket time here on this Thursday. Sam, are you ready for the Magic Bucket? And I agree. Danny says, Zach is all time fading the bucket and leaving Sam to pay the bill.
I've been getting kind of screwed by the bucket too. Like,
Well,
the last time I was on the bucket, it was like the one thing I didn't want to have to do. And then I ended up having to do the Sopranos voice, just like for 3 keys to the game. That was a tough one. So I have not had the best of luck with the Magic Bucket.
Yes. This is Denise. Sam, have you ever used an answering machine?
Yeah.
For a landline?
Yes.
For a landline. Like your family sets like, hey, this is the Phalens.
Yeah. No,
okay.
yes. No,
We're not here right now.
we had a home phone, and like we had a landline that was hooked up to a bunch of like home phones around the house for way too long. Like I think there's still like a home phone sitting in my parents' house right now. But yeah, I always wanted to do it too. I was always like, Mom, let me do it. And so you'd listen, and there was like a little 6-year-old talking on
there you go.
on the answering machine.
All right. So maybe every time Sam's on, you guys can just ask Sam, hey, have you done this type of question? We'll just throw him in there when it happens. All right. Magic Bucket time. Okay. So you mean pull for you or me first? Your choice.
Just get mine out of the way.
All right. Here you go. Oh, this is just weird.
Okay, that's like the worst case scenario if it's just weird.
It's so you're gonna have to do this on Monday.
Oh boy,
because I'm out. I have an appointment Monday morning, so I'm out. So Sam's gonna be in for me Monday with Zach. So you have to do the final segment of Monday's show, Sam, with peanut butter on the roof of your mouth.
Okay.
I don't know who.
What is the final segment of Monday's show? That'll be
it's the Ask Me Anything, where Zach finds a question that you have to kind of figure out.
So like the one that I usually get the most heated during. But
that one. The one that really fires you up. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
but I'll have peanut butter.
Yeah, so you have to do like the dog peanut butter on the roof of your mouth thing. So
I don't even know how to get peanut butter up there. You just kind of like gotta.
You just take a spoon and do it, I guess.
All right.
That's up to you to figure out. You've got the weekend to practice if you want to.
I don't know if I'm going to practice that at all.
That's fine, but don't forget your peanut butter on Monday. All right. This is for me. Oh, damn it. All right. This is so you get to have fun with this.
All right.
You get to decide what I eat for lunch today.
Oh, nice.
Now,
I'll be nice because I know you're vegan.
Vegetarian,
right? Okay, yeah.
So it has to be within my dietary.
Yeah, within your parameters here.
Yes.
Well, I'll go to the chat and ask them for what. Maybe we can do a couple of that. Them asking me questions while people also gave me suggestions for what you should eat for lunch today, and then I'll pick one.
So,
this is not bad. Peanut butter banana sandwich.
Oh, I eat those all the time.
Okay, well then never mind.
I love peanut butter banana sandwiches.
Squid and oyster. We can't do
that.
Vegetarian.
Yeah, I've been vegetarian for like 2.5 years.
So, what is a vegetarian dish? In the meantime, let's see what else we got up here. A beeper. No, I don't know what that is.
You don't know what a beeper is? You have no idea what a beeper is.
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
But you don't know what a beeper is?
No.
No clue.
I mean, is it like I don't even want to say what it is.
No. Tell me what you think a beeper is.
Is it like the like a pager?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, I haven't used one of those, but
I actually have not used a beeper
I've never called it a
either, or
beeper.
pager.
I've called them pagers.
Like my dad had a pager beeper, same thing, but I never like had one.
All right, let's see what else we column shift vehicle. No. I don't even know. Do you know what that is?
Column shift? I mean, is that the same thing?
It's like a manual.
Yeah, is it the same thing as stick shift?
I don't know how to drive stick.
I don't either. I never had to learn how to drive a stick.
Scott says typewriter. No, I have never used a typewriter. I don't feel like anybody's you've never used a typewriter, have
No,
you? Yeah,
no.
like that's yeah.
That's multiple generations there, Scott.
How about the Astros? No comment. I'm upset about it. The credit card. Yes, I actually did 2 days ago. Yeah, so that's coming. That's coming soon. We've got that.
Oh, column shift has the shifter by the wheel. Okay, so it's like it's manual, but like okay, I got you. But
actually, I did one time because I was doing valet, but like it went poorly and I almost crashed it. And then they were like, "Yo, we got to get there," because they didn't tell me it was stick. Like it was one of those ones. Like yeah, I don't know. There was a train wreck. Have you? I don't know what this means.
I don't know. But what do you
have I won the spelling bee? Like have I ever been in a spelling bee? Ironic that it's a spelling bee question with the improper one used here. No, I have not. I did a geography bee. Sam, have you ever wrecked a car? Yes, a lot of them. A lot of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I've had a poor history. Like not always my fault, but yeah, there's been I don't even want to say how much.
Yeah, you don't have to. You can disclose as little or as much.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that has been an issue in my life. I've ran into a couple issues. All right, let's see what else we got. What
am I eating for lunch? That's what I want to know.
This is a peanut butter banana sandwich, a grilled cheese
totally
sandwich.
Super.
Nick says
great.
no meat. Yes, no meat, Nick. We gotta find something with no meat. No, don't be nice. Just stay in his diet. Yeah, like I'm not trying to be nice, but like I wasn't gonna be like, you have to eat a steak, Austin. Like we're not doing that. Nothing but cauliflower uncooked.
Uncooked raw cauliflower. If it was raw broccoli, I'd be down. But raw cauliflower.
A veggie bowl from Chipotle is way too enjoyable.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
That's what you would pick.
Yes.
Impossible Whopper with extra mayonnaise. Is that vegetarian?
Impossible. Yeah, it is.
That's not a bad idea. I would do you like mayonnaise?
I don't mind mayonnaise.
Okay, falafel wrap, Brussels sprouts.
Sounds great. Brussels sprouts, awesome.
Burger King and you guys are forgetting like what is nasty to you. He loves
Brussels sprouts are fantastic.
They are really good if they're prepared well. Like
that's what I would. Yeah, right. I'd prepare Brussels
sprouts. No, I'm
sprouts.
just saying most people are like, oh, Brussels sprout. It's like you're vegetarian. You've adapted yourself to be like Brussels sprouts are like
in. Brussels sprouts are hip right
All
now.
Right. A loaded baked potato.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Just gonna make me sleepy.
Yeah, you guys are all like tomato soup. I don't hate the idea of tomato soup.
I mean, what's wrong with tomato soup? It's a little boring, but
yeah, it's boring. Okay, we got a lot of people pouring in now. All right, I'm just gonna make a decision here.
Yeah, make a decision.
For lunch, Austin, you are going to have. I'm gonna go. You're gonna have an Impossible Whopper with extra mayonnaise.
Okay.
I didn't want to give you something too easy, but I wasn't gonna be like just cauliflower because that would have been kind of. That's not really a lunch. I want you to have an Impossible Whopper and report back on how that is. How you feel about that?
I've had to do it before on this exact challenge.
Oh, really? The exact same one?
Yeah.
Oh, well, look at I wish I would have known that. I probably wouldn't have picked that one.
Yeah, I like Impossible meat. I like Impossible burgers. I mean, just I would rather not because I would rather eat my same lunch that I always eat, which is scrambled eggs with salsa and a Greek yogurt and granola parfait. I mean, that's
That
my,
sounds delicious.
it is every day. That's what I do every day. But yes, and now I just got to go to Burger King. That's the down part of that.
All right. Well, that's what I'm going with. I feel like we found a good middle ground right here. So I can't wait for the video that you text me later of you.
Yeah,
with
I'll
your
take
impossible-
I'll take a picture of it.
You with your Impossible Whopper. So shout out to G-Man for the suggestion there. For the Impossible Whopper with extra mayonnaise. That's Austin's lunch today. And that was the magic bucket.
Sounds and so Devin asks, how are eggs vegetarian? It's a
Not
different.
meat.
Yeah, it's not meat. It's different.
Yeah.
So this was a trivia question one time. I'm a oviotarian, something like that. There's a name for it.
I don't
because
think
vegetarians no meat, vegan is no animal products.
right. Vegans can't have eggs, but
Eggs, no dairy. Vegans technically no honey because it comes from bees. So there's a difference in that. But I'm a vegetarian, just no meat.
all right. Well, there's a debate going on whether or not eggs are meat. Maybe that'll be our Ask Me Anything.
They're not. I mean, they are not.
I firmly agree with you. Eggs are not meat.
They're not. That is the situation there. So, all right. Well, good stuff today on this Thursday. So we'll figure out how lunch goes. I don't know, but make sure that you do subscribe to our YouTube channel to find out what Sam gathers from Titans practice today, and also Buck Rising live tonight. A to Z Sports Primetime. Give the show a like, a thumbs up before you go if you're watching on Facebook and on YouTube. So give that show a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on a Friday. Appreciate it as always.